Well, happy Tuesday afternoon. It's a bonus. It's a bonus Energize Live. It's not a morning Energize Live. It is an afternoon Energize Live. It is a special Energize Live, 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Who knew that we could do Energize Live in the middle of the afternoon? And listen, there was a lot of discussion today around, do we make Energize when it's not the morning? Like, what do we do? What are we making? If it's not morning and we're not getting ready for our morning routine and making Energize, what are we making? And some very brilliant woman, Margaret, I think it was, one of my Inner Circle subscribers, said, we should make a bevy. And I said, you know what, Margaret? You are correct. You are correct. So I'm going to make a bevy instead of an Energize. If you don't know what bevy is, it is this. Listen, did anyone else ever drink Crystal Light? Crystal Light was like my BFF. I loved me some Crystal Light because I drink a lot of water, probably like you do. I drink a lot of water, and in the middle of the afternoon, it's like, yeah, I just need something with a little bit of flavor, right? And I would drink Crystal Light. Well, Crystal Light is all full of chemicals. Crystal Light's fake. Crystal Light is no bueno for you. And so thankfully we have Bevy, and shout out to Margaret for, the suggestion that it is Energize Live, but we're not making Energize because that's for the morning. We're going to make a Bevy for the afternoon. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that in my gorgeous Disney Starbucks cup. And as you know, as we've talked about, we have a very special guest joining us today. Now, here's why this is so cool this week, and I'm going to bring him on in just a minute. And you already know it's Brad because we've been talking about it. It's not like a surprise. You already know it's Brad. Brad's on. We're going to bring him on in a minute. And the reason why this is such a special week, been such a special weekend, such a special week, is this is the 1-year anniversary of us moving here to Florida. Can you even believe that? And I was talking to my youngest daughter, Jessie, about that today. I'm like, isn't time the weirdest? Time is the weirdest. And she said, it feels both like you've been there forever and you just moved there yesterday. I'm like, exactly. Time is so weird. So it's really cool that Brad is joining us for a mid-afternoon Energize Live, a Bevy Live. We're calling it a Bevy Live today because we are celebrating the 1-year anniversary of living here in Florida. And as you might know, Brad is instrumental for us even being here in Florida. He was the person that asked me the question that was the catalyst for me to get off the bench and start playing for realsies on my dreams. And it's one thing to have a vision board. It's one thing to spend all the time cutting out the pictures or on Canva, making the pretty vision board and doing all the things like that. It's another thing entirely to get into a community and to get a coach and to get a structure around you that is the catalyst to actually architect the life that you want to live. Again, a vision board is one thing, but I sure as heck would rather be living the stuff on my vision board than just looking at the stuff on my vision board. And Brad is the person who asked me the question that got us to here, right here in Florida. And this week we celebrate a year of actually being here. So it's pretty cool that we're doing this live today. Timing is perfect. So I'm going to bring him on. A little mid-afternoon Bevy Live convo. There we go. Here we go. Of course. Hold, Brad, I can't even believe I didn't have this ready for me. Hold up.
You know what's cool? I was just thinking about this, friends. I think this is the 1-year anniversary of Julie moving to Florida. The spark! Okay, so friends, let me tell you a little something. Before we get into good content today for you, let me just tell you a little some. When I was at Julie's house 2 months ago or whatever it was, last month or whatever, I have a very important subtle agenda anytime I work with a dear friend client on business stuff. And it's to persuade them of the power of the spork. Now, let's talk about sporks just for a minute. It is a spoon-fork combination that allows you to do spork or fork-like things and spoon-like things at the same freaking time. And I convinced Julie to buy one, and guess what? She bought one, and her life changed forever. That's more impactful than moving to Florida.
And I will have to tell you that the other night, my husband sat down to dinner, and he goes,
"Yes, we got JV on it too."
Just so you know. So all the JVs are on the spork. We all have a spork now. But if you're going to get a spork, you must go to Crate and Barrel and get a good spork. Don't be dorking around with some little TP spork. It's just like personal development. You must invest in something. You must invest. Well, so
happy Florida anniversary, my friend.
Isn't the timing so crazy?
I'm so happy for you.
So crazy. Oh my gosh. And today I just was actually talking to JV. I'm like, listen, we got Brad and I are doing this thing at 4. What are you doing? And I'm like, you got to get out of the way, because we're continuing, as one does for all eternity, the home renovation projects. So we've got home renovation, we've got blinds coming down and curtains going up. And the beautiful thing is, I'm looking at my window and I'm looking at palm trees and I'm not looking at snow. And so I'm this takes. It's just a beautiful thing. And, you know, I was telling them before you joined that you were really the first person. I mean, it's not a joke. You were the first person who said, okay, let's put a date on this goal and this dream. And that really is how important the people who are in your life are. Because what if, Brad, what if you had never asked me that question? Would the goal and the dream have gone away? No. But would I be here right now? Would we have been here for the past year? Who knows? You know, and just having these people in your life that will ask you those questions, and then being in that community space where other people are on that same kind of mission.
Changer. And you know what's powerful about it is twofold. Number one is when you set a date of something that you really, really want, it's kind of like buying a car. If you think about, let's say that you want to buy a Honda CRV, right? Making this up. The minute you decide that you want to buy a Honda CRV, you see the Honda CRV everywhere. It's at every stoplight, every street corner, every parking lot, everywhere, because you have told your brain that's what's important. Actually, scientifically, there's a piece of your brain called the reticular activating system, and its job is to fizzle out all the stuff that you don't deem important. And so the minute we put a date to Florida, and I have another point about this in a second, but the minute we put a date to Florida, all of those cognitive faculties aligned to find a way to make it happen, and the opportunity showed up for us. But one thing that a lot of people don't do to create their equivalent of Florida, whatever that is, that might be, you know, taking their kids to Disney, that might be me buying a house, whatever it is. Most people don't even consider the big dream because they're afraid of not hitting it. And they set their goals based on past failure instead of the goals they actually want. So they don't have the motivation, the drive, and the energy to actually create it. And they start to believe this limitation that says it's not possible, when that's a load of BS. And so we need.
I know a lot like this idea, like people say, well, I'm just afraid to fail. I'm like, oh, are you? Or are you afraid that you're going to actually be successful and you're not going to know what to do with yourself when you actually achieve your goals and dreams? You might have to set a bigger one. So really, what are we afraid of?
You know, when people say they're afraid of success, I think what they're actually saying is, subconsciously, I think they're saying they're afraid of failure, because I think that means that they're afraid of losing success if they get it. You know? And so yes, but I love what you said about, are you afraid you might blow your own mind? Right? That is so powerful, because you might just blow your own freaking mind and create the life that you really want. And guess what? It's not that far away, but it seems far away from people when they are perceiving their future through the lens of their past. And that's what most people do. They look at their future life through the lens of their past. And that's why they never set big dreams. They set goals based in reality instead of actual dreams. And realism is the fastest traveled road to mediocrity. It makes you stay in the exact same spot, and you start to rationalize that other people have it easier, that your situation is more challenging, other people don't get it, and you start to create a story to protect yourself and your ego, and the wall that you build up to protect you also imprisons you, and that's what happens to most people's life.
It's so interesting too, just being here a year, and Jesse and I were talking about this, and like, it feels like we've always been here, and it also feels like we just got here yesterday. And I said, that's how weird time is. So let that be a reminder. I've been talking about that a lot for the last few days. Like, time passes Whether you're doing anything with it or not, she don't care. She's just going to keep on passing. And you're going to blink your eyes like we're already at the end of the second month of this new year. Yesterday was January 1st. And today is February 28th. And here we are at the second month of this brand new year. And we're going to blink our eyes and it's going to be February 28th, 2024. And we are going to have done something in our life or we're not. But either way, time is still going to pass. And so the choice really is every single day, every single moment. Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do this difference? And one thing you and I want to talk about is this amazing free 5-day mindset challenge group. I keep saying challenge group. First of all, for some reason, 5-day, every time I say it, it feels funny and I trip up on it. And I'm like, I'm going to get it right at some point. We're going to say 5-day group, 5-day group centered on mindsets and it's completely free. The diction, it's completely free. And, you know, you and I have had these conversations before about how powerful this group is, about how powerful it is to get in community where you're talking about mindset. And something that I know people will say is, well, what if I've already done this free 5-day group? We call it Success Accelerator. What if I've already been a part of Success Accelerator earlier this year, last year, 2 years ago? What if I've already done that?
Oh, so many thoughts.
What would you say to that?
If you've already done it, well, good. Repetition is the mother of mastery. So if you want to actually master something, you don't do a bunch of different things. You do the same thing that served you over and over and over again. It's why I keep going back to Tony Robbins conferences all the freaking time. It's why I read the same book over and over and over again, because at every new stage of life, there's a new limiting belief, a new growth pattern that has to emerge. And you're at a different stage of your life than you were a year ago. And so if you go back to this content, it's going to hit you in a completely different way than it did before. And if you haven't been part of this group, get ready for your mind to be blown, because this is something where you're in a place where you know in your heart that life needs to change. And your goals seem to evade you year after year, and it seems easier for other people, and you're constantly craving the how and living in perfection and doing all the personal development, and it just seems like it's working for everyone else, but it's not for you. This group is going to show you why, and it's going to help you break through it forever. And it's going to be one of the most profound experiences of your life. Over these 5 days, we literally start the process of rewiring your mind for success. We go through identify what the greatest limiting beliefs of your life are, and we reverse them. So whether you haven't done it before or you've done it before, get your butt in this group, because it's an absolute game changer for you. So that's what I would say to that person.
Well, that's what I would say too, because as many people know, Brad, because I've been talking about it for the last 2 months, I just finished rewatching The Wing in almost its entirety. We started when Josie came home for Christmas, and she was a little bit into it. So she was somewhere in season 1-ish, I believe, maybe the beginning of season 2. And I just picked it up and continued watching it. Now, I watched that show in real time. I was obsessed with that show in real time. I can't even tell you the level of my obsession with the show now watching it again, because it hits differently watching it all these many years later. But I watched the entire season again. You know what else I did on Sunday? I went to the Magic Kingdom. Guess what? I've been there before.
You have?
I've actually been there before. And I went again. I know, it's crazy. I went again. So this whole idea when people say, well, I was in that group before, I don't know if I should do it again. I'm like, you've never done anything in your life again? Like, this so silly. So why? That would make no sense to me. I would also love to touch on this idea of personal growth. Sometimes people say, well, personal growth doesn't work for me, or I'm reading all the books, so how's this group going to be any different? Or just that whole like stuff around personal growth, or like, I just feel so stuck, I'm on a plateau. I mean, I've said that before, we know that. So I feel that feeling. Why does someone need to get in success?
I'm going to be blunt and very straightforward with everyone here.
Well, that's yeah, because that's why they're friends.
So if you're saying personal development doesn't work for you, that's bullshit. It does. You're just using personal development as a way to escape developing personally. And now, what do I mean by that? Most people, let's say that they want to develop their confidence, right? What they'll do is they'll buy a book on confidence, and they'll study it, and they'll be motivated until like 7:30, 8 in the morning, maybe 9 in the morning. And then the old patterns creep back in. And then they get to the end of the book and they're like, okay, that was nice. I felt motivated, but I still don't have confidence. And so they buy another book on confidence. And next thing you know, it's 30 self-help books stacked up in the corner later. And they're really good at reading and their words per minute have improved, but their results in their business or career or life haven't improved. And it's because you're then feeling like you're missing something, and you're using personal development as a way to escape actually identifying and shattering the limiting beliefs that are hiding in your mental blind spots. And that's what Success Accelerator is about. It's about going a step beyond, actually many steps beyond the book. It's going to the actual root of your psyche and saying, what are the core foundational beliefs and values that you have about life? And when you change those, then guess what? All the personal development that you're doing will actually start working, because you're looking at it through a new lens. It's kind of like going to the eye doctor, right? If you're looking at the board and you're reading the letters, if you have a prescription that is not in alignment with 20/20 vision, you're not going to see it. You could squint, you can lean forward, you can try everything, but you're not going to see it. And that's the equivalent of reading a personal development book in a lot of cases. Most people are reading personal development through the lens of mediocrity. And if you're reading personal development through the lens of mediocrity, then everything is skewed by your current beliefs. And so if you're not doing work on the actual limiting beliefs going on behind the scenes, that won't change. And so what Success Accelerator does is it helps you identify and shatter all of the limiting beliefs that would keep personal development from actually working. And so most people will use a book and study and study and study and study and study and wonder why their life hasn't changed. Well, the reason why their life hasn't changed is because there's beliefs hiding in their subconscious mind, in their mental blind spots that they can't see. And that's what Success Accelerator rips out, and it actually makes it start working for people. And they see life through a totally new lens. You don't even have to squint and look, and you can see all those letters in the bottom row clearly. So that's the difference.
And
yes,
it's really a journey, isn't it? I mean, it's a practice. I don't even, the journey is such an overused word. It's really a daily practice. And I don't want anyone to ever think that they can read a book or do a 5-day group or some such tool of any kind.
You're
You go,
never
well,
done.
I'm done. No, you're never done.
Yeah.
And that really, what a beautiful thing to know you can literally be skidding into the very end and still working on getting that next level of you in some way. I think that's a beautiful thing, that it is a constant practice, and you get to the next level. And we know new level, new devil, there'll be another limiting belief, and you kind of get under the root of that, and you continue to work on that. And sometimes I see questions. It's no different than when, in my business, we launch a new fitness program, and people are like, and what about this? And will it do this? And how about this? And do I need this? And my response is, how about you just work out? And why don't you just try the workout and see what happens? And I think about that with this group too. We're like, well, will it do this? And what about that? Well, it's free. So why don't you just go in and see what happens?
Yes, absolutely. And to your point that I think is really, really impactful, like when you set a big vision for your life, going back to the very first thing that we talked about, when you set a big vision for your life, you know that it's a big enough vision when it triggers limiting beliefs within you. If it doesn't trigger
whoa. Say that one more time, because I don't think enough people are really aware of and responsible for those triggers, especially when it comes to
for sure.
So say that
like
one more
as we
time.
talked about earlier, most people set goals based in realism because they're afraid to fail. But so it doesn't trigger any limiting beliefs. It just keeps them staying in the same spot. They don't have to challenge what's going on inside their subconscious mind. But when you set a big enough dream, it will trigger limiting beliefs. It will cause you to ruffle some feathers. That's how you know you're dreaming big enough. And so when you go through something like Success Accelerator and you shatter those limiting beliefs and you start achieving those big visions, then guess what happens? You have bigger goals and bigger visions and bigger dreams, which literally creates and activates different limiting beliefs that you have that you didn't know you had, and the cycle continues. So even if you've done it before, like, you never end. You never graduate from personal development. You never get a degree in growth. You're always continuing to grow, and because every new level there's a new devil, and that means that you need to grow and rewire that mind even more.
And you know what I would rather be scared of? I would rather be scared of being ordinary. I'd rather be scared of being average. I'd rather be scared of not tapping into my potential
100%.
than I would of setting a big goal, a big dream. People are scary, good, because I'd rather be scared of that big goal and big dream and the person I have to become to live into that, to get there and at least get closer to that than I would be. I don't want to be scared of, I guess, let me rephrase that. I am more scared of that. Like, I am petrified of not tapping into my potential far more than I am of the big goal that you and I set when you were here in January. And so make no mistake that just because we got here we achieved this lifelong goal, that doesn't mean now the goals are done or now done. No, because the goal that Brad encouraged me strongly to set in January makes me want to throw a bit. And if it didn't, guess what? It's not big enough. Because the idea in Florida was a goal that made me kind of want to pee my pants for a long time. Like, how am I going to make that happen? Well, those are all triggers, to your point. Those are all triggers around limiting beliefs that you get to the honor and the responsibility of working on so that you can get to that next level of you. And then you get that goal, and then you get to set a new goal, which means you're going to get to the next level of you, because you can't get to the next level of the goal until you get to the next level of you. And all of that is a beautiful evolutionary process. It's called being a human being. And I'll take that over, I'm so scared to set a big goal.
And so can we talk about fear for a second? Because this is so important. A lot of people think when setting dreams and setting goals that they'll start acting when they no longer experience fear. Well, newsflash, the only people that are fearless are dead. So you will never be without fear. So if you are not, and by that I mean they're either dead or dead inside. And so if you are not scared, that is a sign that you are playing life way too small. Because you're playing not to lose instead of playing to win. Yes. And so when we think about fear, to your point, Julie, I think it's so impactful. Yeah, of course it's scary to set a big goal. Of course, like I am terrified of the things that I am going after, but I feel in my heart that it's right. And so if you feel like it's right in your heart, but you're pulled there and it's scary and you're pulled there, go. Because typically fear is a sign of something you should lean into instead of lean away from. But I would be deeply, if you think about what actually you should be afraid of, I'd be way more afraid of what happens if you don't do it. What happens if you stay in the same spot? What happens if you wake up in 6 months, 2 years from now, having the same bad day? You are not meant for mediocrity. You are not meant to wake up and just have an average life. You are meant for so much more than most people. And if you want something different than most people have, that means that you have to think and do different things than most people do. And very few people have the courage to do that. But in the Success Accelerator, you will find literally thousands of people that have the courage to make this change.
Yes. So to give us some details on that, give us some quickie down and dirty details on when it starts.
So it is a completely free 5-day challenge. We are starting this coming Monday, March 6th. Bright and early at 7 a.m. Don't worry, the recording will be in the group, but you have to register in order to get that. In this group, you're going to discover how high performers achieve their goals so much faster than all their peers with less stress and without sacrificing all this time away from your family. Most people think that I need to sacrifice my values in order to achieve my goals. That's BS. It is not true. It's 100% not true. And in this group, you're going to see what are these characteristics, these mindset shifts, these belief changes of the world's most successful people. This is a program that's helped over 30,000 people from all over the world. It will change your life as well. We're starting Monday, and it's for 5 days. It's totally free. And each day, I'm bringing up a new little, like, we're just 1 millimeter away. If you think about being in LA, flying to Rome, if you're off by 1 degree, you end up in Africa. And so we just want to make these little tiny shifts that can make a world of difference. And each day I'm going to be bringing some nuggets, 7 a.m. each day. The recordings will be in the group. Julie's got the link for you to register. It's going to be such an impactful experience. It will change your life in so many ways. We already have 1,000 people in the group, and it's already, I'm looking at it on my screen right now, it's already bananas energy in there. So get your butt in the group. We start bright and early Monday. We're doing mini challenges and fun stuff leading up to it anyway. So get your butt in there today.
And I will be in there on Thursday. We'll be having a little convo in there on Thursday, I believe. Yep, Thursday of next week, I believe. So you're going to have some guests in there too, kind of sharing their experiences with it as well. So here's my question. I know people are like, well, why? What am I going to get from it? Da-da-da. Really, honestly, what do you have to lose from it? Like, doesn't this feel like such a win-win situation? You get into a community of high vibe people, smart people, of mission-driven people who want to level up their life, and you get some awesome learnings from Brad, who this is his life's work. And he and I had a little conversation. You may have taught me by now that we both spent about $250,000 on personal growth. So it's not like this is a hobby for us, right? This is what we do. And you get to spend some time with him and learn from him and just be surrounded by this positive energy. And I think for most people who are going after big goals and dreams, they are a little bit of the anomaly in their community. So that's why it's even more important to get into these spaces where everybody's going after the goals and dreams. You're not the only one. So the link is in my profile. You can go click it, get yourself into the group. And Brad, you and I are going to talk tomorrow morning. We'll talk more about that later, or we'll talk tomorrow morning in a little secret space. And I hope if you have any questions, you're watching this either live or via replay, you message me, just shoot me a DM if you have any questions. Just, what do you have to lose? It's a free 5-day group about mindset. Like, how are you not going to come out better on the other side of it? So don't even stop overthinking, stop putting up resistance, stop going, I just don't know, and go over to my profile right now, hit the top link that says I'm in, get in the group, and
Let's go.
Freaking go. Let's freaking go. Okay.
Thanks for having me, Julie.
We'll talk soon.